Do you know that you could improve the volume of your hair in just 1 month if you know how to properly moisturize and seal your hair? Every person that has followed the effortless hair care system has achieved this. And I'm saying 100% of people, as in it has never not happened before. So in this video, I'll show you exactly how to properly do this. So why is moisturizing and sealing important? It's important for a very simple reason: evaporation. Evaporation. Your hair evaporates. Hair and skin, they evaporate every single day, every minute, every second. There's evaporation going on. Of course, invisible to us, right? But it's happening. So if you imagine your hair being moisturized as if it's a car being fueled, then you may understand this concept better. It is your job to make sure that your hair moisturization level never gets too empty, right? That it never gets so dry that it's easy to break, it's feeling crunchy, easy to sustain damage. Or even if it goes very low, it doesn't stay there for long. That's your job. It's your job to make sure that you top up and you moisturize your hair. If you were to actually make sure that your hair never dried out, that before it reaches empty tank, you refuel it, you remoisturize your hair every single time, you notice that it is getting dry. That's in between your washes. You actually have no idea what your hair could do for you, just how much your hair could actually do for you if you could achieve this. Because have you ever wondered exactly what your genetic limits are? Like right now, where your hair is, if you think this is the best so far that you've ever experienced of your hair, or whatever the best is in your memory, what if I told you that your hair can do even much more than that? What if that's not even close to what's possible for you? If you're curious, there's an assessment I created just for this to discover if you're maximizing your genetic potential. The second thing the assessment will give you is clarity. Clarity on what areas need work, meaning what opportunities you have to reach your highest genetic potential. So this is one test that the lower you score, the better the news, because it means that you really are that far from your potential and your hair could do a lot more than it currently is doing. So my point is, if you get to do the assessment and you score 100% on the assessment, you're very close to what your genetics are capable of doing. So if I were you, I would be hoping that my best hair care practices would score me a 5 over 10 at the maximum. So take the assessment, check the link in description, check the link in any bio on TikTok, Instagram, wherever you find this video, and check it out. Just do the test. Don't be afraid to score as low as possible. So be honest in the assessment. There are, however, certain mindset shifts that's necessary to be able to get an actual transformation, not just a result. A result, I can give strategies, tactics, and you get there. Just like I told you, clients, or you get there within a month, right? However, if you don't have a shift in how you look at this, if you don't have an understanding as to why you're doing this, as to the things to look out for to be able to do this properly, if you're just following, oh, Tresscare said do this, so I'll do this. If that's what you're following, you will get results. But the issue is you may not be able to hold on to those results for long because you don't understand the why. You have to become the kind of woman that shows up for your hair in between washes. The same way you wash your face separately from having your bath, separately from brushing your teeth, separately from should I say, your even your skincare, where you do exfoliation on some days you don't by design, right? It's the same way you ought to also be showing up and doing something, no matter how small, to your hair during the week, in between washes. You have to become that kind of woman that is willing to do that to achieve true transformation, not just results. You actually are transformed and you are now the kind of woman that gets the kind of results that you get with your hair. So, in case you're wondering, what does moisturizing and sealing even mean? Over here, moisturizing and sealing is simply nourishing your hair, giving your hair nourishment, taking care of your hair. And you do that by using products that have water or water itself and oils or butter. So, moisturizing and sealing is simply applying these products I just mentioned to your hair. However, you have to do it in a particular order for maximum effectiveness. For you to truly get the benefits of each product you're using, you have to use it in a particular order. It's called layering. You have to layer it in a particular way. And it's not that big a deal. You literally are layering like two products max. two products. So there are different levels to which you can moisturize and seal your hair. That's why I qualified it in this video and said how to properly moisturize and seal your hair. So there are ways you can moisturize and seal it, but if there's a better way to do it, then that's the proper way to do it. And then so we'll go over that, and then we'll go over all the other ways that are acceptable but not the best. Acceptable has a place in everyone's regimen because every day is not the same. We're not machines, we're not robots. Some days you will feel like it, some days you will not feel like getting out of bed, some days are just too busy to do a whole full thing. Does that make sense? But the days you actually have the time, the days you actually want to take a beat, slow down and do the thing properly, this is how to do it. So first of all, you get your hair damp. Most people do this by simply spraying plain water on their hair. And damp is key, not wet, please. By wet, I mean it shouldn't be dripping water. It should just be damp. Next thing is you apply your leave-in conditioner. You take your leave-in conditioner, apply it to your palms, rub it in, rub it into your hair. That's all. That's it. That's simple. Number three is to apply an oil or butter. Same thing. Apply the oil, rub it in, and rub it into your hair. Paying more attention to your ends, by the way. Applying more products, more leave-in conditioner, more oils to your ends than what you did to the rest of the length of your hair. And that's the full regimen. That's the full, literally, that's it. Apply your leave-in conditioner, apply your oil or butter, and you're done. That's the longest, biggest deal that you're going to do to get your hair properly moisturized and sealed. Most people think it's longer than this, but that's it. It gets even easier depending on the style you have on. If you have cornrows, it's easy to just apply it, right? Just massage it in. I don't mean massage it into your scalp. I mean just make sure it touches all the parts of your hair that your hands can touch. That's all. So you can have any variation of this, maybe skip one step or do one thing, don't do the other. For example, you can decide to, if you're too, you're rushing out, you may not have so much time on your hands. You don't have to get your hair damp first. You can go straight to using your leave-in conditioner and use an oil, or you can just use an oil and dash out the door, right? But once again, those are not ideal situations. Those are in betweens, which have a very, very giant place in our regimens. And the final, barely acceptable way to moisturize and seal your hair, I'm going to say it just because we're living in reality, is mixing oil and water in a small spray bottle and spritzing your hair with that. Instead of doing that, I'd rather you get a hair mist and use that. But DIY version is just water and oil. I don't recommend it. I don't do it. I don't recommend it. But since I'm talking to you guys here, you're coming across all sorts of content. It's just barely acceptable. Okay. At least it will get the job done. There's a reason why I don't recommend this and I don't do it, is because the whole point of moisturizing and sealing is because we are depending on the science that says water and oil don't mix. Yeah. Remember that we are trying to reduce the rate of evaporation here. So if you put water and oil in a spray bottle and mix it together, it's not mixing, right? Yeah. Okay. So when you spray it onto your hair, you simply have deposits of oil, water, oil, water, oil. It's never actually truly mixed up together. So what that means is that you're not using those two items, that's water and oil, to the best of its ability. You would be better off spraying your hair with plain water and applying an oil and dashing out the door. You would be much better off. Your hair will be much more properly moisturized and sealed. The second reason is because of the growth of bacteria and unwanted organisms in your spray bottle. It's not hygienic, especially when you add leave-in conditioner. Don't do that. Don't do that, please. Do not dilute your conditioners. They were made by professionals, people that actually understand product formulation. Don't mess with that. You're messing with the pH, you're messing with the formulation and dilution of the preservatives in there. This is also why I always advise that your spray bottle should be transparent so you see what's going on in there, right? Because if it's colored and you can't see inside, yeah, yeah, let's move on. So, as I was saying, worst case scenario, if I'm running out the door, I do not have even just 20 seconds to moisturize and seal my hair properly, I would simply spray my hair with water and seal with a butter, and I'm out the door. That's it, that's all. So, if you are the kind of person that wants to care for yourself this way, if you want to take care of your hair, you also have to be the kind of person that understands that it is not beneficial to outsource your hair care to someone else. You can outsource the labor, but you cannot outsource the attention you give to the hair because people are not going to pay attention to your hair the way you do. And even if they do, why wouldn't you want to know a part of yourself? So you have to become the kind of woman who pays attention to your hair. You're a student of your own hair. You touch it, you actually touch it and feel it, and you notice things about it. If you don't care about this part, you're not gonna see results long term. Simple. If you actually don't care to know how your hair feels, what if your hair is properly moisturized, what does that look like? You can't tell when you touch your hair, and you don't care to be able to tell. Like, I understand if you don't know right now, but it's an issue if you don't care to be able to find out, if you don't care about knowing what that feels like, if you don't care about knowing your own hair, you're not going to see results long term. Like, simple, you're just not going to get to find out what your hair could do genetically, what genetically possible for you. So let me tell you some signs that will let you know that your hair is properly moisturized that you can look out for if you care to. Number one, water is trapped inside. How can you tell that water is trapped inside? You know when your hair is dry and when you wet the hair, visibly you can tell the difference. You can tell that, oh, this is wet and this is dry hair. The wet hair usually looks a bit darker, is a bit shinier, and you can visibly see water on the hair or in the hair, right? When your hair is properly moisturized, this point I'm about to make does not apply to everybody, but when your hair is properly moisturized, it looks like this, right? But when you touch it, it is not wet. That's a major difference. When you touch it, it is not wet to your touch, meaning no actual liquid or moisture transfers to your hands, but it looks like it could be wet. So it looks like it has soaked up water and all the goodness in moisturizers or conditioners. But when you touch it, it's not wet, although it looks like wet hair. That's one way. This is not for everybody, by the way. Not for everybody, not for all situations. So sometimes your hair looks very, very frizzy, but it is still very, very soft and strong and resilient to breakage and freshly moisturized, even. This is a second sign, and this applies to everybody, every hair type. If you take a piece of hair, not a strand, I mean like a lock of hair, like a twist, for example, and you moisturize and seal it, you will notice that it has a lot more movement, right, while it is damp. And then it dries up, you will notice it still has a lot more movement. I mean, dries up like within an hour or so or less. You will notice it has a lot more movement than it did before you moisturized and sealed it. Over the coming days, you will notice that that movement reduces and it gets a bit more stiff and stiffer until it gets to the point where it's just stiff and it doesn't want to move. You don't want to get your hair to that point before you re-moisturize, by the way, but that's a good way to know that my hair is properly moisturized and for you to monitor when it will be time for you to re-moisturize and seal your hair in your hair journey. This time frame that I just described is called a moisturizing and sealing cycle or a moisturizing cycle. And this varies from person to person, from product to product, because some products will get you a longer cycle while some may not get you as far. So, for example, if you are in the habit of moisturizing and sealing your hair with just water and oil or water and butter, your cycle is not going to be as long as if you add a leave-in conditioner into that mix. Does that make sense? So, in other words, you may notice that with some products or some routines that you have, you're able to go without needing to re-moisturize for as long as 5 days. And you notice that with some other products, you can't go past 2 days or 3 days. So this telltale sign that I just spoke about, that's the movement, how flexible your strands are, is one that's very easy for beginners, for everybody to know, to use to judge when it's time to remoisturize. However, there's one that's more intuitive and it may be harder to explain until you are far gone in your journey. And that is to moisturize and seal your hair today and notice how it feels when you touch it. That softness, that lushness, notice how it feels and pay attention to that feeling. And then notice how your hair feels in the days to come. And the farther your hair feels from the first time when you freshly moisturized and sealed your hair, the drier it is becoming. Does that make sense? So you're gonna then be on the lookout to feel that same feeling of freshly moisturized hair. Usually it's soft and it feels good. So if you notice something in everything I've said so far, you will notice that it's not realistic to decide that you'd follow one strict regimen, one strict routine for a long time. You can do that for some weeks, for some months, but it's not exactly realistic because life happens. So how do you know when to pivot? How do you know when to change? If you do a particular hairstyle for some time and then change your hairstyle to another hairstyle for some time, how you moisturize and seal your hair before and after or during the style would change depending on the style. How do you know what should change, how it should change? It's if you are the kind of person that responds to your hair than just following a strict routine. Does that make sense? To be able to respond to your hair, to be able to touch your hair, notice what it feels and give it per time, you also have to become the kind of person that sees hair care as self-respect, right? Not as something that you just have to deal with or get over with, right? You also have to care or be bothered more about playing the long game than short-term aesthetic value. So, for example, being more concerned about the ends of your hair than how sleek your style is. If you have to give one up for the other, that you would most of the time, at least 90% of the time, default to preserving your hair than achieving this look. Does that make sense? So try to pay attention to your moisturizing and sealing cycles. And these cycles change over time, by the way. They're not stagnant, like, oh, mine is 3 days and 3 days forever. That's not the case. The more you take care of your hair, the healthier your hair will become. The healthier your hair will become, the more capable your hair is because your hair becomes capable of more over time. So you just cannot know what your hair is capable of until, number one, you believe that it's possible. It's actually capable of more. Until you actually believe me when I say genetically, I believe it's possible for every single person to get to brush strap length, to achieve brush strap length, and to get thicker hair. And number two, if you actually go for it. So to get the best that your hair can give you, you have to at least believe that there's more that is possible for your hair. And number two, to actually go for it, to actually put in the work to get to know your hair. And by work, I don't mean the hustle with your hair because a lot of people feel like you need to do so many things to your hair to get healthier hair when that's really not the case. Most times, fun fact, guys, most times I've actually found out that I have to cut back on people's regimen and the number of products that they use for their hair to actually thrive better. Because, like you, your hair also doesn't want stress, doesn't like stress, right? That's what over manipulation is called. So, no, it's not true that to get your hair to give you more, you have to give it more. You have to give it more of your attention, yes, but not necessarily more of your time or more products or more steps in your routine, certainly not. However, you can certainly get to find out if you are maximizing your hair's genetic potential by taking the Tresscare assessment, find out how far or close you are to achieving your hair's highest genetic potential. The other thing that this assessment will do for you is clarity, to give you clarity, to show you exactly where the opportunities are in your regimen that you can upgrade to give you more. If you notice a difference in your hair texture, how your hair feels, or the health of your hair, or even the density of your hair over the next couple of weeks, please let me know. In the comment section, in the DMs, everywhere, emails, I'm available. Anywhere that you can find me online, do let me know. And until next time, make your hair care effortless.